Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny Pierpoint. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Retrofit Academy, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. I'll be telling you something about careers in retrofit that I hope you will find interesting. Okay, I'm going to share my screen just so you can see a few slides that I have and a video later on. Okay. Okay, so first of all, a little bit about the Retrofit Academy in case you haven't heard of us. We're a community interest company founded in 2016. We're primarily a training company, although we do lots of other things as well. We have to date trained around about 7,000 learners. That figure is increasing every day. We've also trained the vast majority of retrofit coordinators that are practicing in retrofit at the moment. We also have a number of valued government partnerships helping local authorities to develop the retrofit supply chain in areas such as Birmingham and the Greater South East. We don't just deliver training, we've also written a number of qualifications. We've written 8 nationally accredited off-qual qualifications so far. We were the first to write a retrofit coordinator qualification. We also partner quite closely with some of the major contractors in retrofit, so businesses you might have heard of, such as Waits, Equans and Sustainable Building Services. And finally, we've won a number of awards for our social value programmes and also for the quality of our skills and training. So that's a bit about us. On to retrofit. So the scale of retrofit in the UK. You may know this already. UK homes are the coldest and leakiest in all of Europe, partly because we industrialised sooner than other countries, and partly because some of our housing stock isn't the best quality. Our homes account for about 40% of the carbon emissions in the UK. So it's a huge number that we can make a big difference to through retrofitting. Now, there's about just under 27 million homes in the UK. And about 18 million of those are going to need some form of retrofit to bring them up to EPC Band C, the energy performance certificate measure that is used as the target. And those homes will need to be brought up to EPC Band C, certainly before 2050, which is when the UK's legally binding net zero targets come into force. So it's quite a challenge. But the good news is there's quite a bit of funding for retrofit, and certainly in the Northwest. So the government is heavily investing in retrofit and has allocated in total £6 billion for energy efficiency measures for domestic retrofit in the UK, including an extra 1.25 billion announced in December 23 for the Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund. There are other funds, publicly funded schemes for retrofit, such as the Sustainable Warmth and Home Upgrade Grant. So there's a number of government-funded schemes to help organisations retrofit their housing stock. And this is how the current round of funding breaks down for the Northwest. Okay. So the current round of funding, there have been previous rounds, but the current round of funding is as you can see there on your screen. So a total of £233 million worth of funding for retrofit in the Northwest. This includes 45 million for public sector retrofit, so retrofitting public estate, such as county council offices, NHS properties, that sort of thing. So you can see a considerable amount of funding. So let's just take a closer look at the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority area. So we know that in this area there are about 676,000 properties. Of that number, about 140,000 are socially rented. You can actually see that socially rented properties perform slightly better than the total number of properties when it comes to energy efficiency. So 57% are lower than EPC Band C, whereas the total for all properties is that 76% are actually lower than EPC Band C. This means that in total, around about 517,000 properties are going to need retrofitting before 2050. It's quite a big number, appreciate. And of that number, nearly 81,000 are socially rented properties. Liverpool City Region Combined Authority has secured nearly 95 million of that previous 233 million we saw on the previous slide to retrofit homes in the area over the next few years. All these properties will at the moment be lower than EPC Band C, and the aim will be to increase their energy efficiency to bring them up to EPC Band C as a minimum. Some of these properties are socially rented. Some of these might be off-grid, so are not using gas as their main source of heating. And some will be lived in by people in fuel poverty. So what you can see is that the combined authority has actually been incredibly successful in securing this funding. It's a really great, strong start towards developing a city region with warm, healthy and low carbon homes. Just a word of congratulations here. Liverpool City Region Combined Authority actually recently, last week, in fact, won the Retrofit Academy Award, a national award, national competition announced at the National Retrofit Conference last week. They won the award for being the best local authority-led retrofit programme. So actually already doing some really great things and a fantastic place to be in retrofit. So let's come back to careers in retrofit. So if you know much about retrofit, you will know these two phrases, PAS 2035 and PAS 2030. PAS 2035 is the British standard surrounding how retrofit projects should be managed, with the roles there that you can see: retrofit advisor, assessor, coordinator, designer and evaluator. PAS 2030 is the British standard around how energy efficiency measures should be installed. It defines the quality that each measure should be installed to. So measures such as external wall insulation, internal wall insulation, cavity wall insulation, heat pumps, etc. So there's a range of different career options and roles under PAS 2035, the retrofit installer roles. Now, what I want to do is just share with you a video that outlines a little bit more about the various different career roles in retrofit.
Have you got skills you're ready to use to be a net zero hero? That's what we like to hear. We need all types of heroes, and there's plenty of directions where your career in retrofit can go. So let's take a look at the 6 model heroes we need. We've got retrofit advisors. They're the communicators, brilliant at customer service and support. Retrofit assessors. They're the inspectors, able to assess your home to see how it can be improved. Retrofit coordinators. These are the conductors, masters at planning and coordinating retrofit projects. Retrofit designers. The technical experts, designing retrofit solutions for people's homes. Retrofit installers. Skilled tradespeople who can safely carry out improvement works to homes. And retrofit evaluators, the detectives who ensure the finished project has no snags and meets the owner's needs and expectations. There are loads of big retrofit projects being planned or already underway, and they all need retrofitters to help deliver them, meaning plenty of career opportunities, and all of these places are looking for just the right heroes. There's a lot to do in a short space of time, so we need everyone willing to get involved. And at the Retrofit Academy, we're ready to train you to use those talents and take those steps. Start your journey now and become a net zero hero.
Okay, I hope you found that interesting. Just a brief snapshot of the roles available in retrofit. Now we're going to take a look at some numbers. So quite a few numbers on this slide, I'm afraid. But this is potentially the number of people that will need to be recruited into retrofit in the Liverpool City region area over the next sort of 6 years or so. So what we've done is we've looked at the number of properties in the UK as a whole, the number of properties in the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority needing retrofit, and then the numbers on the right-hand side at the bottom of the screen represent the numbers of different roles that will need to be filled by new recruits between now and 2030. So this takes the global picture prorated that for Liverpool City Region to show the total number of retrofitters that will be needed if Liverpool City Region are to retrofit the nearly 520,000 properties that are below EPC Band C. I appreciate that's a huge challenge, and what it shows is that there's around about 8,000 people needed between now and 2030, which translates into 1,300 people roughly being recruited every year over the next 6 years. That's if 520,000 homes need to be or are going to be retrofitted. Slightly smaller numbers if we just look at the socially rented homes, which is where a lot of the government funding is going at the moment. So how that works out, as you can see there at the bottom of the screen on the right hand side, we would need about 15 retrofit designers, about 45 retrofit evaluators, about 110 retrofit coordinators, about 150 retrofit assessors, just over 300 retrofit advisors, and nearly 700 retrofit installers. And that would be to retrofit the nearly 81,000 socially rented properties in the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority area by 2030. That's about 215 people being recruited every year. So again, even if it's a smaller number of properties, there are some solid career prospects for people. Nearly 1,300 individuals would need to be recruited into retrofit in order to meet that level of demand. That's by 2030, which is when socially rented properties need to be above EPC Band C. So there are some quite significant career opportunities in retrofit. And I just wanted to show you this matrix, which outlines the level of skill shortage. So the higher you are on the vertical axis, the greater the skill shortage, and it plots that against the demand for the particular measure or that particular role in Liverpool City Region's current social housing decarbonisation programme. So if the role you can see is in the top right, the red box, that means it's quite in short supply and it's in high demand. So all of those roles you can see there, assessor, designer, coordinator and advisor, they're needed on every single retrofit project and they are in short supply. This is confirmed by research that we did in the summer of 2023. And then the box below that's got air source heat pump, solar PV, external wall insulation, cavity wall insulation and loft insulation installers. That again, that's sort of it's fairly short supply. Those skills are in fairly short supply and those energy efficiency measures are going to be implemented in the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority SHDF projects. So those are the roles really that have the greatest skill shortage and highest demand. So it's those really where the skills need to be developed as a priority. So final slide from me. Who could I work for? Well, here you can see the logos of quite a number of large, we call tier one contractors. You will know some of these: E.ON, Kia, Equans, Mears, Waits. They are British Gas, obviously. They're big names in energy or in construction, and these organisations are implementing retrofit measures and managing retrofit projects. But you could also work for smaller subcontractors who work for the tier one contractors through the supply chain. You could work for assessment and coordination businesses. There are a number of these now. They provide the retrofit assessment and coordination services needed on these large projects. You could work for local authority, of course. You could work in-house as a retrofit assessor or coordinator or advisor, or managing some of these projects on the client side. Similarly, you could work for housing associations doing the same kind of role. You could also work for community journey support organisations. They provide a lot of tenant liaison, tenant engagement and retrofit advice. Or, as many people do, you could choose to be self-employed, work for yourself, have that freedom, win some contracts, be a subcontractor to some of the larger contractors and work with your own freedom as a self-employed employer on retrofit projects. So huge variety and choice of different types of ways of getting into retrofit and many different careers on offer. That brings me to the end of my presentation on retrofit careers. I hope you can see it's quite a big opportunity and I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.